When I get this one done, it'll be a good one. I've been working on this for 5 years. Hold on a second. There's a guy I knew down in, he lived near Richmond when I moved to Broadway, and the guy was trying to zone my land. He's trying to turn it into commercial property. So I raised hell. I wrote a letter to the editor complaining. Crazier than crazy can be when you're wishing what you had was something that you wished for. Got tired of living in the Northeast. So I went down to Virginia where my brother lives. Happened to like it there, whatnot. Pretty nice. Got myself 5.6 acres. Of course, I thought about moving to Tennessee, but there's too many rednecks live there. But it's probably about the same, give or take 2 or 3, same most places. It's a good thing, man, doing a hard man's work. You can't be wasting your life just doing enough sitting around being taken advantage of. It's not my right to be talking about what your rights are, but it is my right to think free, as one might think freely. Thinking free is a free man's right to think freely. I wish that everybody thought that way. It'd be a lot easier to live life. Yeah, so I've always, my father, like I said, he had an auto body shop. I gotta clean this up because I'm supposed to move again, and when I move, there won't be any moving about. If you're wishing that things would sort of come your way when it rains. I believe in God. I believe in living a life, good life, beautiful love, wonderful life. My father, he taught me how to drive. I wanted a sports car. The closest thing I could get to it was an RX-7. But it was in here. It was in here. You know, I worked at a couple of projects. I worked on the Tom Bigby River down in Mississippi. They were putting in a waterway through there. They were trying to get big ships in. There wasn't much going down anywhere around, but they had some welding jobs, some union jobs. So I went down there. I did that. Back in those days, you know, I drank a lot and about ruined my life. But I decided I wanted beautiful love, wonderful life. And I put it away for good. People say that I had a lot of guns. I do have a lot of guns. But I don't hunt deer. I don't believe in it. I only hunt coyotes. That's all I hunt. Coyotes. That's all I hunt. So when deer season's over with, I hunt coyotes. People say, why do you just hunt coyotes? Because I once got arrested for hunting a deer in Plainfield, Connecticut, up where I grew up, without a license. It went on my record. I never had a record in my life. I've lived a good life, quality life, living for goodness, living for love. Not once was I ever arrested. But it was one night, it was June. It was what happens when one is out in June. It wasn't deer season, but I had my gun and I saw a deer and I was hungry. So I was coming up with the doe. I would never shoot a doe, but it did what it did. And a coyote came out of the corner of the woods. It jumped on that doe and it was tearing it to pieces. So I shot the coyote and I accidentally shot the deer. The game warden heard the noise and he came up in a truck and he asked me if I had a license. I said I never had a license because I always lived on a lot of land, and my parents, when they grew up, they lived in Maine. I'd go up there shooting. I could shoot a hole from 1,000 yards. I was good at shooting. Did what a man does, which isn't fair, to do what I thought I was doing with my mind, which is thinking freely. And he gave me a ticket for not having a license. But ever since then, I shoot coyotes only. That's all I shoot, coyotes. You know, I just sometimes get a whim, and I just feel like doing things crazy, you know. Like, you know, just riding around on my bike. Of course, there's no air in the tires. I guess I can't do that. But I'm pretty spontaneous. I don't like to take matters sitting down. If people, what the hell's that doing in there? I was looking for that. I know what that is. That was Useless's bull. When Useless had a cat named Useless, and there were some beagles one day out back tearing Useless apart, and I got the gun and I killed the beagles, but it was too late. Useless was dead, but Useless was a good cat. She liked nine lives. Purina cat food. 9 lives, that's what she liked. So I used to have this motorcycle over here. This motorcycle, I drove it everywhere. I once drove all the way across the Mojave Desert in this thing. It was incredible, ran like hell. It is a beautiful machine, but you know, it wore out, and I'm gonna fix it one day. I got parts, I'm gonna restore it. I called her Betsy. I have a lot of good memories on this. I remember once I met this girl. Well, I don't want to tell you. That wouldn't be appropriate to tell that, because I do believe in love, beautiful life, wonderful Spirit of God. I rode once when I was living down in Richmond, Texas. When I was living in, where was it? I was living in Broadway, and somebody wrote in about Satanism. And it really irritated me. So I wrote into the letter to the editor, and they were talking about all the various religions, Hindu, but they were making fun of Christianity, and it really upset me. So I wrote in, leave China alone. Just leave China alone. Yeah, that's what happened. You know, I had this motorcycle when I first met Useless. Useless was a stray cat. I didn't care much for cats till I met Useless. Some poison ivy over there. But Useless was good. She about saved my life once. They put her leg in a cast, and she wore it for about 6 months, and then she was dead. I used to like to come out here and drink a lot of beer, and I still hide them back here so I can drink them from time to time. You know, I've been trying to cut back, because when my wife, when she left me, she said I drank too much, but I didn't believe her. So I'll put it down today. I don't really feel like drinking a lot. Always, you know, I'm a pretty nice guy until I drink. You know, I'm a son of a bitch. You know, I had a flip phone once. I only paid $9.99 for it. And then I had to buy data. Data cost me more than the phone cost me. And then I realized that the phone wasn't even worth it. So that's when I decided I was going to move to Broadway, Virginia, and live out in the middle of nowhere. I did have plumbing. I did have a bathroom. Yes, I had 2 bedrooms. I'm getting, you know, I'm still pretty young, but I got so many interests. I'll start something. I used to do a landscaping business. You know, I also did, I did work for some insurance companies. I didn't want to admit that to Pam. I'd do like a Serpro, and we'd go in and clean up after the furnaces with what they'd call a puff back. They'd puff back and smoke up the whole house, and you'd have to go in and use chemicals to get all that smoke off the walls, and I did that. It was in here when I wrote that letter to Pamela, told her I wasn't happy about the estimates. I sent her 3 estimates. 3 estimates. I sent that lady 3 estimates. She sent me an estimate back. She didn't want to pay me for anything. Ripping me off. That's what people don't like about our country, is that people take advantage of other people when one's people are weak and they can't take advantage of themselves, because the advantages are not to the people who are weak, but are to the people who are rich and have everything that's going in their advantage, which taking advantage of people's minds, which is crippling them and torturing them with a crown of thorns. So that's why I got my RX-7, and I got it fixed. It took me 5 years to get it back to a manufactured paint job, but I had to use lacquer and lacquer chips. When I die, my sons want this truck, and so I'm going to leave it in my will for them, because I think they can restore it, just like I'm doing over here. All right, well, I appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully you got enough material here. I'm just gonna excuse myself, and I'm just gonna sit down here and play the harmonica. So I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful life, and I appreciate your being a gentleman. I'm a gentle person, and so are you. And like I said, your thinking is your thinking. My thinking is my thinking. I have the right to think freely as I think free, and you also have the right to think as thinking as freely, as franking, and free as you can think. That's what free thinking is.